Here I am again with another blockbuster video. This is Roger Thunder, the Desert Shaman. Well, today I thought I would just talk about several different things of importance to humanity. It seems like the chips are starting to fall as to who is on the side of humanity and the planet and Mother Earth and who is not. It's a crucial time for people to make a decision, and that decision could affect them the rest of their life. I'm seeing all kinds of things that never cease to amaze me. But your choice for humanity or against humanity is an obvious one right now. And if you don't make the right choice, well, then history will record you as coming down on the wrong side. Those who came down on the wrong side, if there is a history at all, that is. I know it's not an easy choice for people. We have what one friend calls the Soviet regime, or it could be called the COVIDism, plaguing, no pun intended, humankind right now. A device of the Archontic influence, which I have talked about before, in this third dimensional realm we call reality. I saw another thing that kind of triggered a little button up in my head that I should talk about. And I've talked about this before. Well, we discussed the cult of the religious cults, and we've discussed how they affect mankind and how they have a control over mankind through fear and guilt and all kinds of different emotions that arise when you buy into a felonious belief system or a phony belief system, such as that has been propagated on the planet for quite some time now. And then it has to do with the religious aspect and the fear and condemnation and the view of end times and saviors and all that kind of stuff, which I've talked about at length. And how people have disconnected from their source, which is the planet, which is Sophia or Mother Earth, and have opted to buy into a sort of AI being projected upon them, artificial intelligence, or how about archontic intelligence? The ones that have propagated this should be duly noted and duly credited with the chaos that they have created on the earth. But there's another thing that I have talked about, another, let's say, phenomenon, or another view, or another, how shall I put this? Another incidents or series of incidents that have been arising and continue to arise in regards to the UFO phenomena. Now, I'm not saying that there's not UFOs. There's definitely sights in the skies that could very well be a form of propulsive spacecraft or air vehicle or advanced aviation vehicles. We all well know this. Anybody that's done any kind of research at all into ancient history or into this particular phenomenon known as the UFOs. Just to touch on this briefly, UFOs, there seems to be a proliferation of people out there. Here we go again, we have the truthers and the patriots, and we have the alternative media, and then we also have the strange incidents of cult-like mentalities springing up concerning UFOs. And there's a lot of people out there that are saying that they have had contact, and this is nothing new. They're being contacted by off-world. Here we go with the off-world entity thing again. What does that remind you of? Well, it reminds you of the off-world God. Only this time it's an off-world entity. Could that be coming from the same source? Because there's all kinds of people out there now that are claiming to have contact with certain warriors in space or fleets of galactic warriors that are bringing about an intervention. Now somehow, go figure, somehow this gets all tied in with the alliance of the white hat and black hat scenario. I kid you not. You got the truthers and the patriots that are pushing this scenario about the white hats and black hats. And then you have these people that are coming from the UFO community that are pushing basically the same agenda of there being an alliance of aliens, off-world beings, that are also involved in this fight of the white hats and the black hats. Really, people? Really? This is nothing more than religion disguised as another savior type thing, another actually it's religion disguised as religion. It's a belief system disguised for what it really is. In other words, what am I trying to say here? Basically, it is a belief system that is really just another offshoot of that same old religion that has been around for ages and ages and ages. Now, there has been a tapering off somewhat of the traditional religious beliefs. People no longer believe, a lot of people, let's say the younger generations coming up, are starting to no longer believe in the type of God. That would be a good thing in itself, except what are they doing? They're replacing it with another type of God that is the same thing as the old God, only it takes a different form. It's taking a different form in these cults that are springing up and have been springing up for decades, as far as almost like a worship of the Star Brothers or a worship of these off-world entities, and putting some kind of hope. Okay, and this goes back to the Savior thing again. Here it comes again. You just can't get rid of it. I mean, even if organized religion in the sense that we know it was to be totally demolished in front of our eyes, let's say by a UFO appearance or an invasion or let's put it this way, a revealing of themselves or a revealing of these supposedly quote-unquote off-world aliens from other planets and star systems. That's all well and good if it happened to be, let's say, an interdimensional thing, which it could be. I'm not ruling anything out. All I'm doing is noticing that there seems to be a transfer of the same kind of ideals and the same kind of belief systems that are permeating everywhere right now. And what would the Archons, the dark ones, or those ones that are controlled by the archontic intervention, what would they do if they did notice that there was starting to be a little bit of deterioration of something that they implanted here a long time ago in the form of organized religion and the Savior Son and the concept of God and all that? What would they do? What would the archontic influence do if that was panned out to be something that was starting to appear as a deterioration of the old religious regime? What would they do? Well, they just replace it with a new one. But that new one would be the exact same as the old one. It would be a prototype of the old one. It would be a mimicry. And remember, I said the Archons can mimic, they can imitate, they do all kinds of things to trick people without them knowing it. So it might be all well and good to buy into some type of off-planet rescue from the Galactic Federation. This is the spin, the Galactic Federation that is meeting somewhere out in outer space with members of those ones on Earth that are being proclaimed as a sort of connection to the ones. And who are they coming up with as far as these people that are supposed to be connections to the Galactic Federation in outer space that's going to save our ass? This is a misdirective thing. This is, and who are the people? Well, the people that they've chosen, you're not going to believe this really, is Elon Musk and Bezos, because they're involved. And who's the guy with the Virgin Atlantic? These big entrepreneurs, money people, the ones that are the direct problem with this planet, what are they doing? They're being elected now by these communities to represent us on Earth. And of course, they're having meetings just outside of Jupiter right now, supposedly. Okay. You couldn't make this shit up, or I guess you could make this shit up because they are making it up. It's another distraction. It's another ploy. It's another covert op to get people's minds off of what's going on in the planet. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a full-blown alien appearance or alien invasion. Except, you see, that would have to be a false flag. That would not be real. Now, we see all kinds of vehicles. There's tons of videos taken by people with handheld, their iPhones, and are recording these signs in heaven. We'll see, that's another thing that fits right in with the biblical narrative, the biblical script, because that is actually I think in the book of Revelation about there being signs and portents and all this shit in heaven. Don't think that these people don't know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. And so they're going to create through laser beams or blue beam technology, or, like I said before in one of my videos, through their own advanced technology that we have right here on Earth. And I've said this before, I have been into aviation. I was a flight instructor for many years. I know a little bit about technology on the aviation level and how it seeps down and how it's this and that. And they definitely have, advanced aircraft. The TR-3B is one of them that looked like a flying triangle in the air, and people have seen this, recorded it, made shots of it. And then you got the round discs, and you got all kinds of different shaped discs appearing in the air and moving at breakneck speeds that are unheard of on this earth as far as the advancement of aviation technology. So here we are in the midst of a complete subversive tactic on a medical level, and I shouldn't even say on a medical level because it's way beyond that. It has nothing to do with medicine. And we all know that, those of us who can think clearly, all know that it is even by their own definition called an operating system. An operating system. Well, that should give you pause right there. This is all connected. This is part of the whole program that has been instituted millennia ago by this Archontic or Archon division that I covered in my last video, being a splatter vision, a splatter effect from the formation of Sophia, the planet Earth, and the galaxy and star system that we live in. So you have to beware of what you buy into. You have to beware of another ploy here to set up the Savior Son or the Savior aspect in a different form. Can you see that? It's in a different form. But it's the same thing. It's putting your faith in something that is off planet, just like the Yahweh God and the Lord and all of that stuff that has been here for centuries might possibly be, as I said before, might possibly be waning, so that they have to come up with another diversion, another religion, the religion of the UFO, the religion that fits right into this whole paradigm of the alliance and the white hats and the bad and the black hats, the good guys and the bad guys. I mean, it's so really absurd. It's infantile. It's comic book stuff. When in reality, the true intelligence, and I'm not saying alien intelligence, the true intelligence, the true comfort, let's say, would be right here on the planet Mother Earth, not a savior. She isn't a savior. Because the planet is just being attacked ruthlessly as well as us on the planet. So there is no division there. If we're being attacked, if we're being fucked with, then guess who else is feeling this? But she has her own plan. Sophia has her own plan. The Mother Earth has her own plan. And all we can do is trust that if we connect with her, we give her power and she gives us power. That's how it's been for thousands and thousands since the beginning of time. The power is in the spirit and in the kundalini and in the energy of Mother Earth. Even martial artists know this. That's where it is. The whole environment, the whole chi. Incidentally, I'm finding that the lighting in this new room is sometimes very revealing, because you can look up into the tree behind me and it actually looks like the leaves are fluttering. Oh, well, yeah, that could be a condition of light, but what happens when you diffuse light a little bit and you can actually see the prana moving through the air? The chi moving through the air. So that's what we have to connect to, just like the tree in the background there. We have to connect to nature. We have to connect to Mother Earth. We have to trust in Mother Earth. And there is no real faith as far as like, well, I have faith in something I can't see, like an off-planet God. No. It's what you would call a true faith, because that faith can be seen and felt and actually we are part of. It's not anything that we have to look for off-world. It's right here. We are it. It is us. And that's a very comfortable feeling. Once you settle into that ambiance of feeling and communicating with the planet and with the environment around us and the womb of the mother, once you connect to that, I can't stress this enough, and I'm going to continue to stress it. Well, then all this other nonsense that's in this other overlay of, let's say, an artificial view or another paradigm or almost another dimension, and it would be a lower dimension, as opposed to what you would connect with as far as Sophia or Gaia or Unsi Maka, the true spirit of everything, the spirit that moves in all things. I have talked about this so many times from the indigenous people's point of view, which is the same as Gnostics, or which is the same as paganism, which has been given a bad name. But the agenda is clear. The agenda is very, very clear. If you ground yourself into that infinite love of our Mother Earth. And again, our Mother Earth is connected to that divine emanation. That's the only way you're going to get to the supreme emanation, to the supreme creative force of the universe, is to experience that through your connection with that which is attached to that, which that is completely an emanation of that original source, and we are also an emanation. So the only way in Gnostic tradition, It's called the correction. It's called the correction of Sophia, correcting for this splatter effect, okay, that was caused or came about through her appearance as the planet coming from the high celestial realms. This splatter effect has caused this, let's say, imperfection, or let's say anomaly, that would be a better word, of the Archon, of the ones who think that they can control something that isn't really theirs. If you go back into the tradition, you find out that this creator God that the Hebrews came up with is a total false figure, a total maniac and monstrous figure that thinks that it is a creator when it can't create. It can only duplicate. And what is it? What did it try to do? It tried to duplicate the pleroma. And what's the pleroma? Well, the pleroma is heaven. People on this earth that are in the Christian mentality might refer to that as heaven. But that heavenly source, that celestial realm, is actually called the pleroma. And the correction would be when Sophia appeared from that realm, the aeon Sophia, Earth appeared from that realm to form Earth, or to be in the vicinity of the cosmos where the Earth would appear. And this splatter effect that created the Archons happen, well, there's always room for correction. And she corrects herself. She corrects her own entry or her own creative process. Just like an artist would make a mistake on a painting and possibly take a little rag and wipe it out or paint over it, realign the painting, make the painting like it should be, as opposed to how it came out. It's a correction. Or just like a missile has a guidance system and it sometimes gets off course, that guidance system corrects its course through gyroscopic precession so that it gets right back on course to its target. And that's what the goddess is doing now. The goddess is correcting, is making a correction, and we can either be a part of that correction or we cannot be a part of that correction. And if we're not a part of that correction, we're the part of humanity that I said when I started off this thing that is falling down on the wrong side of the tracks here. Because the part of humanity that is going along with the error and not wanting to go with the correction is going to find themselves in a very, very dubious position. Very dubious. Those of us who are aligned with the planet, who are aligned with the correction, the warriors of Earth, the warriors of Sophia, the warriors of the spirit that moves in all things, those are the ones that are going to enjoy the correction, shall I say. And as John Lamb Lash says, the beauty that is to come. The beauty that is to come. We will be a part of that beauty and that correction. And it's not anything having to do with being saved. It has to do with a natural process that evolves. So what are the Archons doing? Well, they're trying to subdue that correction. They're trying to continue on with the error. And the error is them, and they know this. At some point back, probably months or years, I'm not sure, that these Archons have been forbidden to enter into this area as far as, let's say, space vehicles or some kind of projection of that, or even the projection of having as strong a hand, because the more that the earth corrects, the more that Sophia corrects, the less power they have, and they know this. So what are they depending on now to create havoc on this planet? Well, I'll tell you what they're depending on. They're depending on the people that they had influenced previously, the archontic invasion, the parasitic invasion of certain people on this plane or certain people in this realm that they can't descend to, but they can influence these people through an archontic intervention into their minds, a parasitic. And it turns out that these people are the psychopaths. These people are the ones that are on the planet because they are the animals on the planet, or the human animals that have been taken over. Their minds have been co-opted by the archontic dark agenda. That's what's happening here. This is it in a nutshell. So what are they doing right now when they realize that maybe some of these Archons out there and the chief Archon are losing their power, or don't have as much power as maybe they did have before the correction started, and the correction is in progress from the planet. So what are they doing right now, the people on the planet that were associated with these Archons? Well, they're panicking. And you can see it. It's very evident. They are panicking. And they are starting to freak out, and they are starting to try to implement this transhumanist agenda on their own. But they're having a hard time doing it. Why? Because Sophia is correcting, and those of us that are warriors, let's get this straight here. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And those who are coming down on the side of humanity that has ignored its connection with the planet, those people are in trouble. Now there are innocent victims that have been, so there's two classes of people. Actually, there's maybe 3 or 4, but one of the classes is the people that are consciously aware of their connection with the planet and intend at all costs to keep our alliance with that on a warrior level, spiritual and physical. And then there's the people that don't know what's going on, and they just are kind of going along, and they've been taken in by the archontic plan. And then there's the ones that definitely know what they're doing as far as taking the other side and propagating the other side. So it's up to you to decide where you think some of these participants may end up. But for me and my family and myself, I'm with the spirit that moves in all things on this planet, because it's strong. It's stronger than the inorganic, parasitic developments on the outside, off planet. So that's something that you can think about. And if you're making the wrong choice and have made the wrong choice, doom on you. That's an old term, military term. Doom on you. But I don't like particularly to use that because that's another way to buy into the gloom and doom thing. This doesn't have to be a gloom and doom thing, people, and it isn't for me, because you know what? I'm relaxed now. The more that I tune into the planet, the more that I realize that I'm just one with the planet. Whatever happens to the planet happens to me. And if the planet is making a correction, well, then that correction's a good thing. And it's not about survival, it's about the correction. Okay? It's not about whether I live or die, or this person lives or dies. It's about the correction. It's about the right thing to do. It's about feeling comfortable with the let's say, I don't want to say rules of nature. How about the laws of nature? That's the closest I can come to it. The supreme law is the law of the planet. And all these other people are like fleas on a dog that are going to get shaken off, as George Carlin would say. Don't worry about the planet. The planet's got everything under control. It's these irritants. And it could be likened to, I forget what the word is. It begins with an A. But there's a process that occurs on every living animal, and that is a shedding of dead skin cells or dead cells. It happens all the time. Well, that's exactly what the correction is right now with the planet. Is there's the healthy cells, which would be us, clinging to her in knowing, in an all-knowing manner, that we are one with this body of, this beautiful body of energy. And then there's the ones that are like fleas or even like dead cells that are going to be shaken off by this entity. And the ones that are in that category will be shaken off. As a metaphor, they will fall away in the correction. They will fall away. You see how different this is? It's a very natural process here. It's not like some god from outer space or off planet or some revenging god is going to create a war. It doesn't have to be that way. And it won't be that way for those of us who go with the flow. And going with the flow, your consciousness will automatically be raised to a point where you actually feel the symbiotic relationship with the planet. So that's where you want to be right now, people. You want to be in that symbiotic relationship with the planet. Be in a symbiotic relationship with the planet through the correction that she is bringing about. Nobody else, no military, no Good Hat Alliance, no phony God, no phony military, no phony ex-president, no phony. None of that stuff is even relevant. It's so far gone that you need, if you're buying into any of that kind of shit, you really need to wake up. You really need to wake up. Wake the fuck up. Be a warrior for the planet. Be part of the correction. Be part of the solution. Anything else other than that is just going to be a horrific event that goes on and on and on, because the correction will happen quickly. It won't drag on like the end times and the apocalypse and the 1,000-year reign and the what do you call it? The Great Tribulation and all of this stuff that has been programmed to be on this certain overlay of mentality that the masses of the people are buying into. It doesn't have to be that way. The correction can be smooth as a baby's ass. It doesn't have to be traumatic. It doesn't have to be fear-based. It doesn't have to be guilt-based. It doesn't have to be punishment-based and torture-based. It doesn't have to be any of that stuff, that sick mentality that has been propagated for so long. Doesn't have to be any of that stuff. Relax with Mother Earth. Relax. Breathe. Join her in a complete condition of comfort and beauty and love. Let her take care of this in accordance with her spiritual intelligence and aligned with the great mind, the great emanation. It's about her. That's what it's about. And we are part of her. So put that in your pipe and smoke it for a while and see how you feel after this, okay? I'm going to leave it there today. I said enough, but enjoy. Enjoy the rest of the day and embrace the planet as your best friend. Adios.